welcome to an emergency episode of Bedlam Buds. I say emergency, it's a good emergency. There's no Boomer Sooner here for me. We got Jeremy with the Go Pokes.
Let's go Pokes, baby. It's time. It's time.
Big announcement. Oklahoma State has confirmed it after a Pete Thamel report from ESPN. Eric Morris from North Texas is the new football coach at Oklahoma State. If you've listened to any of our podcasts over the past several weeks, we said this was the guy. This was the home run hire. Jeremy, what is your reaction?
Hey, dude, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for a lot of reasons. I think this is a great hire. I think Eric Morris checks a lot of boxes. And go back and again, go from the very beginning and start listening to what we've said from the very beginning. He checks a lot of boxes. He's an offensive mind. I mean, a terrific offensive mind. North Texas has the #1 offense in the nation. They have a dynamic quarterback. And if you can coach quarterbacks, you can win in college football. We've said that as well. That quarterback is the position, and Eric Morris can coach quarterbacks for a reason, right? He is a Texas guy, so we have those ties to Texas recruiting. He's obviously brought in some really good players to the University of North Texas, and heck, they would smoke Oklahoma State this year, right? And so he's young. Again, he has some local connections. He is that offensive mind. If that quarterback comes up with him and maybe some of those other players up with him, we are already starting, that rebuild. This should re-energize the fan base. I'm also ecstatic because it's over. Now we know. We don't have to speculate. The players know, the fans know, the donors know. And so, it's time. Now we know it's time to come together. It's time to start the rebuild. And in college football, as we've discussed, that rebuild can start today. And so I'm happy about it for a lot of reasons.
100% what you said about quarterbacks. Those of you who are a little bit older will remember Eric Morris. He was the elf, the little wide receiver for Texas Tech back in the day. Such a nuisance playing him, for the Sooners in Oklahoma State. And by the way, Mike Leach's coaching tree blooms larger. He was a Mike Leach guy. He played for Mike Leach back in the day over there. I just think it is, I don't know what the status of that QB, Drew, what's his last name? Masterminder or something like that?
Yeah, yes.
I don't know. Drew Master.
My brain's not working. I'm too happy.
Right. I feel like he may be an NFL guy, but if he were to come to Oklahoma State, that's really a slam dunk. But it doesn't matter. You got your guy here, and he's going to bring an offense, and Oklahoma State is a place, and the Big 12 is a conference where offense needs to be the star. That's how you get butts in the seats. That's how you get donors. And really, that's the legacy that Mike Gundy had. He was so good with the offense.
Well, absolutely. Oklahoma State was known as an offensive juggernaut. I still remember beating Texas Tech 66-6 in Lubbock one time by accident. I mean, we were running back kickoffs.
That's the Devil's score, 66-6.
Right. I mean, it was something like that. Of course, that was way back in 2011, but but here's the thing though. We have a quarterback on campus that scored on his first several drives, but then he immediately broke his foot, and that's Haas Haney. So maybe this re-energizes Haas Haney. Maybe we don't need that other quarterback. Maybe we already have the guy, but he has been hurt. But again, I trust what he's going to do with that. That's now that he's hired, that's his decision to make. Does he look at Haas Haney, who he should be familiar with coming from Texas and TCU in that area? Does he say, we already have our guy. We can go out and get other positions and, keep Haas Haney on campus? I don't know. But, again, to me, checks a lot of boxes and a lot of positive is going to come out of this. And let me tell you, my phone has been blowing up as soon as this started being, hinted about.
I texted you just a few minutes ago saying when Pete Thamel, people like to give him crap, but when he gets something, he's got it from the inside. He's got it from somebody. Now, a little background on Morris for those of you who say he's only had one good year at North Texas. Let me just give you a little background here. He coached at a place called Incarnate Word. You may not be familiar with Incarnate Word, but as Brandon Walker likes to say, those who know ball pay attention to the FCS. And Incarnate Word Now, G.J. Kinney, I believe, was the guy who got them to the semifinals a couple of years ago. But Eric Morris started that trend at Incarnate Word, taking them to 10-3 in 2021. Then he comes to North Texas, 5-7, 6-7. You're not too excited, but then 10-1. And I will tell you, that type of change can happen like that. Bob Stoops, 1999, comes into OU, finishes 7-4, 7-5, I believe it was, and then next year, national title. Not saying that OSU is going to do that immediately, but in a world where you just need to get to the playoff, Eric Morris has all of a sudden given the Cowboys hope for that, and I think in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, and as we all know, it's the hope that gets you, but it's good to have that hope. And to me, the simple fact that he could take North Texas, who is really not a football school. Let's be honest, they're a music school. It's not that to. If I could speak English, it would help. But to take them from average record to 10-1, that shows you the improvement in each of those years. It's a slight improvement, and you got to give a coach time to get his players in. With the portal, you can make that happen faster, and that's what happened with him this year. Just a few players in, they're in the top 25. They're in position, depending on what happens with James Madison University, to possibly get into that playoff picture as well. And again, just that massive improvement with his recruiting ties, and you have to be honest. There has to be donors behind this. There has to be money behind this, saying this is the guy we want, and so you have to hope, as an Oklahoma State fan, that that money follows with your NIL, with maybe some coaches, coming in, and you never know. And let me tell you, this is me just spitballing out here, right? There's a coach, and again, while I'm on my adrenaline high from this announcement, let's just go nuts with it. Uh, there is a defensive coordinator that works in Pennsylvania, that is a former defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State. And that man can probably get a job anywhere. Jim Knowles is whom I am speaking about. But Knowles has ties not just to Oklahoma State, but to Oklahoma, and there is a good chance he might be needing a job at the end of this year because what has happened at Penn State. Therefore, why not let's go get Jim Knowles as our defense coordinator and make this happen?
I think would take this home run and make it a grand slam. I mean, I would say at that point, you're talking about a run next year. That's how quick this can happen. This is not unrealistic. You get your guys in, you bring your players in. If you can coach, you can flat out coach, especially if you have buy-in from the administration, from the university, the donors. And it, like you said, it feels like the donors are like, LFG, let's go.
Absolutely, and just so everybody knows, I'm just spitballing here. That's just my pie in the sky, while we're going, let's shoot for the stars type of hire. Do I think that happens? Probably not. Again, Knowles can get a job anywhere he wants. He's that good. But why not go for it? I mean, the wrestling coach situation, Chad Weiberg went for the coach that he wanted, and everybody is saying you can't get him. And whether you wanted him or not, doesn't matter. Weiberg said, this is the guy I want, and he went out and got him. So why not do that again? And you have to pay attention to Weiberg's hires. Every hire he's had for these major positions has been a winner. Every one has been successful so far. And so you really have to like Chad Weiberg, the Oklahoma State athletic director. You really have to like his and Reed Sigmund, our associate athletic director. You have to like their track record of hiring head coaches. And so that's another reason I'm optimistic about this, is because they have a good track record of hiring outstanding coaches that make Oklahoma State athletics better. So I think this is going to be another one of those.
I agree, and we'll put a bow on this emergency episode here. I'm a Sooner fan. Nobody expects me to be hoping for the best for OSU, but frankly, it would be great to have both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State in the playoffs for the sake of this podcast, for the sake of this content. And frankly, your excitement is palpable about this. And I like the fact that we were kind of right about this, that they ought to be going for Eric Morris. But I also think it's absolutely the right move. I'm excited on behalf of Oklahoma State. This was 100. I have to admit, if it had been any one of the other guys, nothing against Alex Golish or Colin Klein, I would have been a little underwhelmed. I'd have been like, okay.
I don't know if I would have been underwhelmed, but this was whom I wanted from the very beginning
Mm.
of the possible candidates, right? And uh, as a fan, again, alum, supporter, employee of the department, I would have been excited and I would have supported whomever. But you're right. To me, this is the best hire. And Ryan, you're always welcome to jump on the bandwagon with us. Um, I will send some orange down to you. I'm getting that hat package up to
Dude,
sit down.
dude, send me some orange. I would tell you this. So for those, as I was up at a store and I sent you a text when I was at the store. I hated all the hats. I was looking for an OSU hat. It's not that I hated the hats. I am very particular. I am a New Era guy, 7 and 5/8 if anybody wants to send me anything. And there's a particular way I like them to fit. And just none of the ones that I like from OSU. So anyway, I'm not against orange by any means. If we're gonna do this, let's do it.
100% in.
All right, man. All right. So like, subscribe, put your reaction to the Eric Morris hiring in the comments below. Until next time, forget the Boomer Sooner for today. It is all
Go Pokes, baby.